Hello everyone, today I'm continuing on with my effort to right the wrong of not playing enough black on this channel. I have an Orzhov list for all of you today, originally from an anonymous person over on MTGGoldfish. I have since made some changes to this list, so I'll put the original down in the comments and I'll put my version also down in the comments. Before I talk a little bit about the list, help the channel grow a little bit, sub up if you haven't done so already, and leave a comment down below. How you doing? Let me know. All right, so what's going on with this list? I think the main idea that created this list was the idea that Momo is kind of a cool card, and Momo allows us to cast our non-lemur creature spells with flying for one generic less mana, or at least the first one each turn. Well, we do have some pretty cool flyers in the 3 slot, and if we can get these out on turn 2, they could be potentially quite powerful. The first one is going to be the Clarion Conqueror. This card is particularly good against the Badgermole Cub meta. This is actually going to turn off all of their creature lands and make it so that they can't produce any mana with those lands that they have earthbent. We're also playing 3 copies of Zoraline. Zoraline's going to be pretty cool because this comes in, we can pay Orzhov, a white and a black, and 2 life, and we can return target permanent with mana value 3 or less from our graveyard with a finality counter on it. That means targets like Mai, Deep Cavern Bat, Cecil, maybe get back a Momo. All of these are going to be great things that we can bring back with a Zoraline if we cast it out on turn 2 or turn 3. Who knows? Probably not on turn 2. For 2 mana if we have a Momo on the field, is what I meant to say. Zoraline's also pretty good because whenever you attack with a bat, we gain 1 life, and it also has flying and vigilance. We are also playing Aven Interrupter. Now, the Aven Interrupter doesn't really benefit from Momo because you want to be playing the Aven Interrupter most of the time on your opponent's turn, and unfortunately, Momo does say on your turn. A little bit lame, but that's the way it is. So we are mostly looking to get out an early Clarion Conqueror, a Zoraline, or maybe even a cheaper Deep Cavern Bat. We can put out a bat for just 1 black and then have a Seam Rip available on turn 2. That seems pretty good. The rest of the deck is playing just like some really good white and black creatures. We have 3 copies of Cecil. Cecil's fantastic on turn 1. In playtesting this deck, every time I put Cecil out onto the field, this thing was a pain for the opponent. They have to get rid of it or it's just going to keep chipping away at their life total. And we gain a good amount of life, and if it flips into the Redeemed Paladin, we're going to be gaining even more life. We are playing 3 copies of Mai. I love this card in this deck. A lot of people are playing Lessons decks, and of course, Lessons decks don't really have that much trouble removing Mai, but even if she just does 2 or 3 triggers of them losing 2 life, it's a huge impact on the overall state of the game. And then, of course, we have the Elegy Acolyte, a card that I played in the Golgari list. This card's awesome. If you watch that video, you'll know how wicked this card is. Go check that one out if you haven't done so yet, because I thought it was a lot of fun. And, of course, I had to put it, or the creator of this deck has to put it in this deck. It just fits so well in this deck. It's going to be gaining us life. We're going to be killing stuff with our Nowhere to Run, our Get Lost, or Seam Rip. That's going to trigger the Void. We're going to be drawing cards by flying in and chipping away at the opponent. It just needed to be in here. I put in a couple copies of the Cutzel Flanker because I felt like I needed some way of deleting my opponent's graveyard. There isn't any other graveyard hate in this deck. Now, the original creator did make this deck for best of 3. I'm playing in best of 1. So anyways, a couple of copies of Cutzel Flanker. It can gain us some life. It can put a +1/+1 counter on for each creature that left the battlefield under your control. I've never read that line of text before. I guess it's pretty good after a board wipe. If your opponent wipes a big board, you can flash this in and it could get pretty powerful. Or, more importantly, we can exile a Kavaro's graveyard when they go to reanimate something with a Kavaro. And I think I talked about everything in the deck except for the removal package, but the removal package is exactly what you would expect. And then over in the not sideboard, in the land slot, I did put in 2 copies of Restless Fortress. I did find this deck being a little bit floody at times. I don't know what it is. I found myself always sitting there with so many lands and not a whole lot of things to do with those with that mana. So I decided to try out 2 Restless Fortresses. This is a last minute change, so you're going to see live just how well this fortress does or doesn't do. So I think that is everything I want to say about the deck. Let's hop into some games and see how it performs in the arena. I realized that last little thing I said there was pretty much ripping off Nostalgic Necro. I'm pretty sure that's how he leads into his gameplay stuff. So, hey, Look at the influence you've had on me. Opponent's going first. We have our removal. We have a couple of lands. Not great, but no threats. I'm going to keep it because I think best of one. An interesting place. Because you don't have any read on what your opponent could possibly be playing, how can you possibly know what kind of hand to keep? And I think maybe that lends credence to a deck like this being more of a best of 3 deck, because you can tailor it to know what to expect from your opponent, of course. Wow. Okay, Authority of the Consoles, Doppelgang, Space-Time Anomaly, and Reach the Horizon. Oh my god. I have no idea. I never in a million years could I have predicted that my opponent was going to be playing this group of cards here. We'll take the ramp, I guess. Yeah, you get rid of that. And I assume what we're going to be doing is putting out the Zoraline and then just try to get them down to 0 before they can mill me out with this Space-Time Anomaly. Gonna be a little bit sketchy. They do have Doppelgang. I'm sure a lot of people haven't seen this card very often. For each of X target permanents, create X tokens that are copies of that permanent. No idea what they are looking to copy with that. Maybe they're going to go after one of our creatures at some point, but I'm not sure. So we don't want that, but we do want to gain a little bit of life. Why not? Hit them down to 15, and I guess our game plan is maybe starting to load up this Restless Fortress. If we draw another land, a 5th land, they hit the Day of Judgment. Man, I cannot get away from these opponents just top decking awesome lands or awesome cards off the top. Man, it's so frustrating. Okay, Cecil onto the field, and we are sitting here. I'm dumb. This Seam Rip is not going to be doing anything in this game. 100% I should have just Seam Ripped the Authority. If I end up losing by 1 life, we'll talk about that later. It's not going to come down to that. I'm hopeful that it won't come down to that. They are awfully close to the Space-Time Anomaly. Next turn, going to do that. However, if I do end up getting one of my 2 remaining Zoralines, I could possibly start getting stuff out of the graveyard, because they're definitely going to be filling my graveyard up with the Space-Time Anomaly. So that, maybe there's something there. Maybe. Okay, they are tapped out. They gain a little bit of life with their Adventurers in. Love this plan from the opponent, and we do not draw well, but at least we do get the Restless Fortress online, and we can go in. One weird little thing about the deck, I will say, is that Cecil sometimes has a hard time flipping, because the deck actually does gain a fair amount of life. You know, we have our Zoraline gaining life. We have our Deep Cavern Bat gaining life whenever it hits. The Acolyte also has lifelink. So I do often find myself just like not losing all that much life. They decide to Doppelgang right there. Okay, well, that's not terrible. So we are going to use our removal here, and we're also going to reach, you know what, I'm going to use the Nowhere to Run on the Cecil, because I don't think there's going to be a better target for that, whereas the Seam Rip and Get Lost might have better targets for other stuff. Doppelgang and Space-Time Anomaly. We grab the Space-Time Anomaly, and I suppose they can Doppelgang our Deep Cavern Bat, but I think they'll probably go after the well, they can't make multiples of the Cecil. So maybe they do go after the Deep Cavern Bat. Can they make 2? If they can make 2 copies of the Deep Cavern Bat, it's going to be horrible for us. But really, they're just going to make 2 1/1s. Oh, what? Oh, that's how Doppelgang works. Okay, that's awesome. It's fine, though. No, it's not fine. It's definitely not fine, because they get everything. That Doppelgang is absolutely massive for the opponent. We need removal. We need removal so badly. Instead, we hit Zoraline. So, you know what? I can Zoraline to get back my Deep Cavern Bat and then take the Space-Time Anomaly. Is that the play? I think that might actually be the play. All right. I mean, what else am I going to do? The other option was loading up the Restless Cottage, but we'll grab this. And we'll grab this poor Space-Time Anomaly that has just been in and out of that hand. Let's hope they don't top deck another board wipe. Oh, Night Sloth doesn't stay in. I'm a little bit surprised there. Next turn, what were we going to do? We were going to probably load up the Restless Cottage. Not Restless Cottage, Restless Fortress. And then attack in. So this was going to be presenting at least 2 damage here. They can block 2 things here and here. So they're going to lose 2 more life. Go down to 5 total. And then we're going to get back our removal. Yeah, the situation was probably going to be pretty good for us. Really interesting deck to start things off. And not a good matchup for us. But hey, it worked out. Doppelgang is one of those cards that I've only seen Saffron Olive play. I've never actually messed around with it myself. But what a card, right? I forgot that it's going to make X, that number of copies, X copies of X targets. So if you do X2, you get 2 and 2. And that's really, really interesting. Okay, opponent filling up their graveyard. We do not find anything useful here. It would have been nice to get a Deep Cavern Bat there, but can't have everything, I suppose. Next turn, maybe Zorling. Next turn, maybe removal. Of course, we don't know. But I'm assuming that this is probably a Kavaro deck. Usually when I see something like an Underground Mortuary, my mind immediately goes to Kavaro. Surveil, surveil, surveil. Like, keep that one on top. Let's run it out. I think it's fine. No target for Zorling. It's kind of a cool card. I'm coming around on this one too. At first, I wasn't... I've seen this card in some of the like Life Gain Bat decks and didn't really pay too much attention to it. But since playing it in this deck over the last couple days, I've been having a good time with it. They have, though, the Virtue of Persistence. Ouch, 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 ouch. Okay, well, we get to at least see what the opponent's working with here. Yeah, it's what you would expect. Okay, what do you take? What do you take? Everything's bad. So do you just hit the Bitter Triumph because, yeah. Okie doke, Bitter Triumph it is. We will kill one of these bookworms, but we are at the point where if they get this, when they get this Arden in the into the graveyard, which they're going to get it into the graveyard with their Oblivious bookworms, it's gonna happen. Then they just have to find a Kavaro, and then we're in trouble. Okay. I guess we got to hit the man. It's such a weird position. Like, do you use... Oh. Deep Cavern Bat. I wonder. When this creature enters Surveil 2, sacrifice this creature, create a number of 1/1 black and green insect creature tokens with flying equal to the number of card types among cards in your graveyard. Yikes. And this is only going to get them a land. So let's grab the Brood Spinner, sure. The question is, like, you don't use the Get Lost to hit the Bookworm, because you have to use the Get Lost on the Arden when they reanimate it with Kavaro, because you have to expect that that's going to be a thing that's happening. But leaving this Bookworm on the field is so bad because it allows them to do so much looting. It says you may draw a card, and if you do, discard a card unless a permanent entered the battlefield face down under your... Well, so they're always going to draw. They're always going to loot. So they now have 2 looters. Okay. You don't want to attack with... I don't think you want to attack with the Bookworm this turn. No. We are down to 13, though. Cecil making sure that we are staying nice and even. So they're digging so hard. It's so inevitable that they're going to be able to find a Kavaro, but we do get to do this. Oh, they found a land. Okay, the top of the deck is not treating them well. Let's see how they block with against Cecil here. They could double block. No, they go that way. So do I just get rid of both of these creatures, or do I save my Cecil? Do I care about Cecil? Next turn, it's going to be flipping. That's going to be quite powerful. There's no way. This Get Lost, I have to keep it. This gets rid of one of the Bookworms. I think that's fine. It stops them from digging so deep into their deck. Overlord of the Baelmark, they didn't put it out for the full cost. A little bit surprising on that. And they find nothing. nothing, but they get to return a bookworm. Oh. Yeah, Brood Spinner is going to be pretty good. Now, do they put out the Hedge Maze, to give them enough mana to be able to do the sacrifice thing? I wonder. I don't think you can do it. I think you have the virtue of persistence sitting there too, so maybe there's an argument to doing it. I don't know. Tricky spot. They choose, very unusual, they choose not to play it, and oh, I just realized that the Brood Spinner has reach. Okay, of course it has reach. I read that. We're gonna get rid of it because I think I have to just put a clock on them. So I have a 2-turn clock. I gotta hope that they don't find anything on the top of their library for the next 2 turns. If they end up finding the Kavaro, we're toast. They put out the Hedge Mage now. Hedge Maze. I'm never gonna be able to say that word properly. To me, that's unusual. Okay. So what do they bring back? They bring back this pesky Brood Spider. Okay. We need a little bit of help here. I would love to see a Flyer off the top. That'll allow Momo to get pumped up. Okay. Good. Good. So it's all down to this top deck, I think. Yep. What does the opponent find? If they find a land, they can play out the Virtue of Persistence. If they find a Kavaro, they can play out the Kavaro. Town Greeter's not going to get them there. I think... Oh, there's the Kavaro, but they can't bring it back. They can bring it back because Overlord brings it back, right? What? Oh, I hate this game. I hate it. I hate it so much. There it is. Okay, opponent, you found your out. Oh, heartbreaking way to go about this. Get rid of this card. It's so lame. Okay. This has to be, well, this is more than enough damage. Okay. GG, opponent. You found it. Okay. Man, those Cutsoul flankers always hiding in the bottom of your library when you need them the most, right? Could you imagine if we were able to get that onto the field? Oh, things would have been so good. All right, opponent. Maybe on a Badgermole Cub plan. It kind of seems that way, so let's go rip the Badgermole Cub out of their hand. They don't, but they do have a Drunith. Okay, I guess we get rid of that. So how are we going to play this? They're going to be making a big Paw Patch Recruit that's going to keep attacking in on us. We can mitigate some of the damage with, that's good, with our life gain, but it's not really going to be enough. And then we're a couple turns away from their Ouroboride, so I kind of have to save this Get Lost for the Ouroboride. I think it's probably just the Zoraline, and we start just kicking each other in the face, and I keep trying to gain as much life as I possibly can. Paw Patch, ooh, it's so good, because now when I use this Get Lost on the Ouroboride, they're going to get so big. I don't think I can throw the Zoraline in front of that, right? This is good. However, is it the Mai or is it the Deep Cavern Bat? They have 2 Ouroboride. I think I'm going to go out with a Mai. And I think we're just slamming in. Yeah, gain a little bit of life. And hopefully this takes them down low enough. But I'm so afraid of Paw Patch Recruits when I'm playing a spot removal deck. They find a Botanical Sanctum, but it comes in tapped. Brutal. Now we have to be aware that Mai's so good here, by the way. Okay, they do know that Mai has First Strike. Good on the opponent. Have to be aware that I need 1 extra mana for the potential ward. Okay, this is actually not too bad either. So let's put out Momo. Let's put out the Deep Cavern Bat. We'll take their other Ouroboride, their second Ouroboride. And then we will nuke. Oh, yes, it's fine. We can nuke the other one because I don't need to have the ward mana up. We gain some life, of course, decline, and keep just chipping away as much as I can. But my clock is not nearly fast enough. There's the Ouroboride, as expected. They're going to get 3 +1/+1 counters, plus another one from the Innkeeper's Talent. It's necessary to do. They would have gotten more overall with this Ouroboride, but it is what it is. We also take damage from thanks, girl. And if they put this, they should put it there, yeah. So now, how much damage is coming in? 12? How much damage do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. Is there anything? 9, 10, 11. If I draw a land, I win. Not that land. Oh, it's not fair. It's not fair. Oh gosh. What are the chances that that's the way it shakes it down? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It was exactly lethal. My God, this game today has been horrible, right? Okay. Well, we go in with Zorling. Zorling has... is there anything in here that I can take back? No. Zorling has Vigilance, so it's okay to go in for the full 5. And now I'm going to have to start putting things in. Maybe I should have... You know what I probably should have done is attacked with the Mai. And then put this Mai on the field as well. Drunith, not afraid of Drunith. They can put +1. I mean, they have more than enough damage, right? Can they kill me? Okay. This is a lot of trample. This is 4, 8. Of course, every time I do this, it's a land. It doesn't work that way for me. They have 15 points of trample damage. I can only block 6 points of damage here. 6. It's not going to work, right? Let's just put everything in front of this one, right? No. That. Not enough. GG opponent. Unfortunate that one land, I needed an untapped land, and it just had to be. It could have been a Verge. It could have been a Plains. I have so many in my deck. Down -2. How many losses am I going to take right, like one turn off? Brutal. Okay. Next one's going to be a good one. At least it makes for good content when I'm losing my mind because I'm getting top deck board wiped, or I'm getting... Oh, that guy never showed up either, right? I forgot it was in the deck. We'll try it. Getting top deck by Kavaro. They mill the Kavaro and get it back with the Bellmark right when they need it. Next turn they were dead. The next turn that other player was dead. We find our tap land. Oh, now we got to contend with this Joker. Oh, I'm going to go out with the Momo. This is probably a Kona deck, Breeding Pool. Right away. What are the chances I'm right? What do you guys think? Breeding Pool equals Kona. Oh, no, it's Kavaro. Okay. Well, okay. That's nice. I like when they put the Awaken the Honor Dead in the graveyard. That card gives me a lot of woe in my life. But we get an early Zorling onto the field. That's pretty good. Unfortunately... we went second, so we're a little bit behind on the ball already. We need to find our Kutzel flanker and then hold it for the rest of the game, essentially. They have the Bitter Triumph, pitching the Arden like a gamer. Man, that's disappointing. Disappointing. So I guess next turn probably we're going to go Restless Cottage or Restless Fortress. Sure, why not get rid of the Town Greeter? It's not going to be... the Seamrip's not going to be doing anything else. Get in for one simple damage, and then... we're just playing the prey game. That's why I hate the Kavaro deck is so obnoxious, because it just, I don't know why I'm bothering to say this, because there are so many cards that exist in Standard right now that do you have the answer? Game's over. And I really hate that design has gotten that way, but that's the way it is. So this is fun. They put, of course, Arden and the Bringer of the Last Gift in the graveyard. So they're plenty healthy. They also found their Kuvaro. We'll see what they do. We do have 2 points of removal, so maybe they can misstep here. But you just grab the Bringer, right? Nothing I can do about this. If they grab the Arden, we're fine. No, they grab, of course, that one. And not a good day for old Apogee MTG over here. Lame, lame, lame stuff all over the place. We're dropping ranks. I know if I put in Rest in Peace in my deck, I'm never gonna see it. It's just the way it goes, right? Let's commiserate together on how annoying it is to run into these I win the game decks, and they would fold to certain hate pieces, but then it never works out that way. You never get it. Where's this guy been? Why haven't I seen an Aven Interrupter this whole game? That could have helped me in a few spots, right? Okay, it's fine. We've lost 3 in a row. That means we're going to win the next 3 games. We're going to end on a 4-3 record. Are you kidding me? Okay. To be fair, it looks like we're against Insidious Roots deck, not Kuvaro. But they could be playing Kuvaro. We'll see. Do I want to get the Mai, or do I want to work towards these 2 creatures? And I think the answer is Mai is not going to be overly useful in a matchup against the Insidious Roots deck. They're definitely going to have the Insidious Roots on turn 2. They don't have it. Okay. So that leaves me in a good spot to maybe Aven Interrupt something. They might just have removal for poor Cecil here. Get in, baby. Okay. Cecil deals some damage. They might just be leaving the Cecil to do damage to me, and then they'll remove it afterwards. I mean, that's not the worst strategy, is removing the Cecil before the opponent gets down to 10. Just let the Cecil start beating the ever-living heck out of the controller, and then when he becomes the paladin, that's when the removal comes out, right? It's a great card. What a well-designed card. Yeah, let's keep old Ceci boy on the field for a turn. That's what we want. And now we are in a weird spot. So I can go Momo into Clarion Conqueror. I can go Momo into Deep Cavern Bat. I could go also Momo into Mai. I had lots of great choices here. I kind of like Momo Mai. Momo Mai. Because we know that this Awaken is going to be coming down next turn. That's going to be another 2 points of damage from the Mai. And then they're going to have a lot of different choices of what to hit. Then if they leave the Momo on the field, the Momo's actually going to get pumped up by 2 from the Clarion Conqueror and the Deep Cavern Bat. So we could put a lot of pressure on the opponent. They don't have anything in their graveyard. It's actually kind of telling me that maybe this is a Kuvaro deck and they've drawn a little bit poorly. What's with Kuvaro? Probably the rise in Kuvaro is in direct relation to the amount of Is It Lessons decks that are being played on the ladder, because the more Lessons decks that are on the ladder, the more people will want to go with the graveyard strategies, because I don't think they have such a great game plan against them. Takes out the Cecil. I'm fine with that. So we got 5 damage on board plus another 2 in the air. Oh, I made a mistake assuming that I could put out both of these creatures. It's fine. We'll Cool. That's good news. So we're still 1 damage short. Let's see what they got in their hand. Nothing we care about. Okie dokie. We're not completely safe yet, but I think the position looks okay, right? Finally, maybe we found ourselves in a good spot. Yeah, get out of here with this Kuvaro nonsense. Oh, it feels nice to beat one. To be fair to my poor opponent in the last game, I don't think I really beat them. It seems more like the Kuvaro deck beat itself in that game. Hey, look who it is. The Kutso Flanker does exist. Not a great hand, but I mean, it's okay. We get to put out a tapped, I haven't been saying hello, tapped Godless Shrine, and then we get our Nowhere to Run for maybe some bad news. Been seeing so many people playing Authority of the Consuls these days. Where did all the creature decks go? Where did all the creature decks go? Oh, we got ourselves a real gamer over here. I'm in trouble. Okay, we'll grab the Moment of Craving, of course. But I love what the opponent's doing. I actually don't... Hope that alarm didn't come through too loudly on the microphone. I'm going to have to cut that out. Sorry. 8 o'clock. Alarm went off. Can't attack in with the Deep Cavern Bat because of the Life Creed duo, but I guess we can put the Clarion Conqueror onto the field. Clarion Conqueror is going to be a pretty good attacker, and next turn, if we end up finding a land for the Acolyte, finally the Acolyte might hit the field. Maybe we'll be in good shape here. They have a Moment of Craving, but they don't have the third land. We also don't have a third land. We do have a Seam Rip, though. Okay, you know what? Let's just get 2 Clarion Conquerors on the field. I was thinking about Seam Ripping the Authority, but I think Seam Rip's going to be more important to hit maybe a Starscape Cleric. They're going to have a hard time getting the Clerics. Like, they're not going to be able to offspring the Clerics. So definitely this turn, that's going to have to happen. Yeah, a little bit unfortunate again. If we hit the third land there, that would have been really nice to get another Clarion Conqueror onto the field. But it is what it is. Nowhere to run. If they end up putting out this Starscape, that's what we'll end up doing. No, double Creed. I'm fine with that. This art is so weird on it. Life Creed duo. Are there 2 birds that are attacking the bat? I actually don't know what's really going on in that art. Okay. Well, what a weird game from both sides of the table here. We're just going to keep hitting them with the Clarions. Let's go Clarion number 3. If they have any activated abilities of artifacts, creatures, or planeswalkers, they are most certainly not going to be activating. They find the 4th land before we find the 4th land, and this tenacity is going to be so brutal for me. But the Aven Interrupter is actually kind of huge, so we might just be able to kill them. Although there's no... they're going to put out the Enduring Tenacity before they attack, I'm sure. That's, man, old ways of playing Magic, I think, pre-Arena would have said, like, you attack before you play out your Tenacity. Oh, they play out the Starscape Cleric. So we bounce this, right? Yeah, I think we still bounce this. They're going to gain 1 life, but then the thing is they're not going to attack with the duos. But then they have to chump block with them, so that's going to be pretty good. It doesn't matter that they Moment of Craving that. Okay, so they still can't attack. They can't attack with the duos. They can hit me with that, though. Okay, so from here, what do I do? I'm not in a good position to do anything either, right? Missing this 4th land. Man, this video series has just been really bad everything. I have the Nowhere to Run to hit something, but the problem is the Tenacity is going to hit me for so much damage here. They only have to block 1 of the Clarion Conquerors. I have to attack with all 3 to put pressure on them. Otherwise, they're just going to keep hitting me with the Enduring Tenacity. I'm in such a horrible position here. Is it put out the Momo? They gain a life, and then I hold back the Clarion Conquerors as blockers? I don't know. I think I'm just really dead here. I think had we drawn the 4th land like 3 turns ago and I had the Acolyte on the field, things would be in much better shape. We would have been able to use the Nowhere to Run to hit the Tenacity. But instead, now they get to do everything that they want to do. Lunar Conviction is going to draw them some cards. Fine, they pay a little bit of life. That's not a big deal for them. And they still have this card that they can put out. They drain, they drain. And we're down to 1. No, 0, of course. Ouch. Ouch. I don't know what to say. This is just not, I guess sometimes you hit the record button, it doesn't go well. I should have pulled up the stats at the start of this. I believe 6-1, maybe 5-1. I think it was 6-1 with this deck before recording. Maybe I can go back and find the games that I had played in testing. The deck is better than I'm showing it to be. Black is a little bit. People are gonna play what's popular, of course, but when you see so little black being played on the ladder, I don't know if that's just me, but certainly it seems to be that way. When you see so little of it, it kind of indicates that maybe the color is not in a healthy spot. In the past, green has definitely been that color where you just don't see green whatsoever on the ladder. We can put out the Cecil, sure. But yeah, the deck is definitely performing less than ideal today. We're going to have to use this Nowhere to Run to probably kill the Scalding Viper, right? I don't want to be taking too much damage here. Attack? I don't know if... yeah, I think it's fine. Maybe I can flip this Dark Knight. Why not? Boom. We'll take at least a little bit of damage from the Scalding Viper from this Nowhere to Run, but then next turn we can either hold up an Aven Interrupter or put out the Clarion Conqueror. I'm not really sure which way I want to go about it. Do you think that they are pumping up the Hired Claw? That'd be really swell if they did that. We'll be down to at least 15, maybe 14 after this turn. 14, okay. And if we end up getting the Acolyte on... Okay, the Acolyte is going to be coming down at some point. So I think it's fine for me to attack, because I kind of want to flip the Cecil. We're going to hold up the Aven Interrupter just to stop any like disastrous things from coming. And then I think when the Dark Knight becomes a 4/4, that could make things quite good. Whoa, that's a scary card. Okay, we're not allowing old Deepest Might to hit the field. That's not an option. We take this. We're going to go down to 7, but we've drawn very well with these Aven Interrupters, and now we have a flipped Dark Knight. We can protect it with whatever, and we're going to be just gaining a ton of life next turn. They could have 2 4 CMC damage spells, but I don't see that happening. That's crazy. I kind of think I have to block. Right? What I'm assuming is that they have some kind of pump spell here, or they have direct damage for the Cecil. I'm going to try to bounce it with this, but I don't think I could take so much damage here. That's a good one to have. They might have a second follow-up one. If they do... Okay, that's fine. Still, we're gaining 4 life. We're removing the Hired Claw, and then next turn we can put the Acolyte onto the field. Yep. They're probably going to put out the Orzhov, whatever it's called. Okay. But if they end up going with... Oh, it costs 4 because I have 2 Aven Interrupters. I could have... maybe played that a little bit differently. Oh, it's so bad for them. Sorry, opponent. Okay. Nowhere to Run. Make the Orzhov a 1/1, and we get 1 back. Finally, 1 win. We end up going 3 and 4. A brutal run, but hey, it is what it is. Let's talk about it. Okay, so performance, you know what? The losses that came through, I think were at least close games. I didn't really feel like I was getting blown out when I was playing this deck, so that's a little bit of a good news. I do think a deck like this is definitely more favored for a best of 3 meta. You should probably be over there. But I want to explore with some more black decks, and I'm still testing the waters to see how a best of 3 video will be received on this channel. But yeah, maybe something like this might be something to come back to in the future and revisit for best of 3. I think there's a lot of good stuff in black. Unfortunately, the other colors just have that broken stuff. And I keep saying like black is not being very well represented. Of course, the Kavaro decks are relatively popular in best of 1 and they are very powerful, but I don't really consider that a black deck. That's just a combo deck, and it's not, it's not associated with what black. I guess it's a reanimator deck. I don't know what I'm saying. In my head, for whatever reason, I don't really consider Kavaro to be a black oriented deck. When I think of black stuff, I want to think of like a ton of removal, demons and vampires and that kind of stuff, but we're not really seeing that there. Anyways, this deck does have cool stuff. The Momo Clarion Conqueror Zoraline synergy is kind of cool. I wish we could lean into that a little bit more, get more benefit out of that one generic discount, and also put more flyers on the field to benefit Momo so that Momo can attack in a little bit harder. You don't really see Momo attacking for much more than 1 or 2 each turn, which is a little bit of a shame. I did go down a land. Maybe the deck should be at 23 lands instead of 22. The original deck was 23 lands, and it did feel a little bit light on lands, but I was flooding out a ton and not having a whole lot of stuff to do with my lands when I was playing it with 23 lands. But then again, I was doing a lot better overall with the deck. Anyways, let me know what you would do to improve this one. Obviously, a deck like this is not really my area, so if you have any advice, I'd love to hear it. That's it for this one. Take care for now. See you in the next one. Sarang ipana, and bye-bye.